case, normally in meditation, we've got an object of focus, such as the breath or metta, this development of loving kindness. But in the just sitting practice, we are just being aware of our experience as it is, as it's arising. And in doing that, one way into that is, well, if we look at our experience, what is actually arising? So you could say that everything that's arising in our experience right now, in this moment, in every moment, is the six senses. So in Buddhism, you have a sixth sense. It's not to do with ESP, it's to do with the mind. So the mind is counted as a sense in Buddhism. So just like with the other senses, in order to have a sense, you've got to have something that can perceive something. In this case, the mind is a tool of perception. It thinks thoughts, it sees images, etc. You've got to have an object. Well, in the mind, there are lots of objects coming up all the time. So, the mind is like a sense. It's somewhat different from the... It's somewhat different from... Can you still hear me? Yeah, great. So it's somewhat different from the other senses in that it's often where we most kind of stay focused within our experience. So during the day, the mind is constantly, as it were, talking to us. Thoughts are coming up, images coming up, things from the past, imaginings about the future. And that's kind of where we live most of the time, is in that thinking mind, or where we identify ourselves as being a lot of the time. But if we can get to a place where we start to see that mind is just like the other senses. So just like, sounds are arising all the time, in the mind, all sorts of stuff is going on. And we can take a sort of backward step and just see everything that's arising in the mind. And, arising within the other five senses. So this is what we're trying to do in the just sitting practice, or the simply being practice, to give it another name. And we were, in doing that, we're stepping back into the place of seeing. So what is it that sees all of our experience, including the mind, when we're not caught up in the mind? That's kind of our question for today. Maybe we could call that today's meditation. What is it that sees? So in Buddhism and in lots of spiritual traditions, this idea of vision, of seeing. So it's not literal seeing that we do with our eyes, but that we see what's going on in our experience. And it seems that awareness, we call it that, awareness is what sees all of our experience, including the mind sense. And in the just sitting practice, we are really just trying to look at what's actually just there, what's simply there in our experience. So it's nothing complicated in a way, it's very ordinary. It's nothing esoteric, we're not doing some complex Vajrayana visualization of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We're simply looking at what is there in our experience, simply seeing it, and taking, as it were, this backward step just to see what's going on. So that's what we'll do today. So we'll start off by, in a usual way, by arriving into the body and arriving in the room and trying to put down whatever is stopping us, perhaps being here now with our experience, trying to put that down as much as we can, and then start to look at our experience as it is, as we're seeing it in this moment arising, including, to the extent that we can, that mind sense as well. And then maybe just at the end, we'll ask that question about what is it that sees all of this? What is it that sees our experience? And in a sense, see if we can see that. And I'll lead us through a little bit of the meditation where we have a look at what it is that maybe doesn't see, doesn't do the seeing. That will make sense once we get to it. So I hope we're all happy with that. So let's get set up for meditation, get into our posture. So it's good to meditate with the eyes closed, partly I think because we are very drawn away by the visual sense, quite often what's going on in our visual field, because it's such a predominant part of our experience. But it can be useful sometimes to meditate with the eyes open and just to take in the visual sense. Maybe not wandering around the room, but you might like to experiment with that during the meditation, sometimes having the eyes open. So I think, as I've said many times, the body is the great ally in meditation, great place to start, to bring us into awareness, to mindfulness of our experience, away from the thinking mind. So this whole aspect of our experience that is what we could call sensory or sensate. So some of the time we're conscious of that, or very conscious of that, if there's pain or discomfort or strong pleasure. A lot of the time, because we're, as it were, living in the mind sense, we tend not to be very aware of the body. And by coming into bodily awareness, when we are able to do that, we can't at the same time be stuck, as it were, within the recurring thoughts, within our recurring stories in the head. So this is why the body is such a good place to start. It can be helpful to start with the head when we're coming to the body, because that's usually where we are. But unhooking from thinking, where our attention is so usually focused, and coming to the sensations around the head and the face. It can be useful because it's just a small shift. Awareness is up with the head anyway, usually. So looking for the sensations themselves. Sensations around the lips, the eyes, what does it feel like to come into the actual sensate experience? To rest in that. So start to do this. It can be a huge relief to not be in the thinking mind. To be in the body. Sensations around the jaw. Usually quite a lot going on in the jaw. Just to emphasize, we're looking for the sensations in and of themselves. What does it feel in the lips, in the face, around the eyes, in the jaw, the neck and the head? So we'll come down through the body, down to the lower abdomen, in this same way, looking for the sensations. So coming down to the neck and the throat. What sensations can we notice in the neck and throat? Sometimes certain areas of the body are very indistinct. If we just allow ourselves to dwell in that area, sensations can, as it were, emerge out of the darkness. Going down to the upper chest, the area around the heart. Again, looking for the direct sensate experience. If a particular area of the body doesn't feel very alive, you can imagine ourselves just breathing directly into that area of the body. This can help to energize, bring a sense of aliveness to that part of the body. And help us to become more aware of the sensations in that part of the body. And coming down to the bottom of the rib cage. So where the ribs end, there is the muscle of the diaphragm which controls the breathing. Looking for the sensations in that area of the body. Sometimes there's a lot of tension held in the diaphragm. We may notice that tension as kind of tingling, vibrating kind of energy. Notice sensations that are caused by the breathing. And coming down to the lower abdomen, so the area below belly button, below the navel. Again, tuning in to try and find the sensations in that part of the body. So if tension gets pulled back to the thinking mind, which it tends to do, as soon as we notice that, just engaging with the body, descending again, looking for the sensations again. And then from that tension located in the lower abdomen, start to take in whatever we can of the body as a whole. Be able to see also the body, essentially our experience, our direct experience of it being like a cloud of sensate energy. So rather than a shape with heads and arms and legs, torso, and a definite outline. In our direct experience right now, how does the body appear? What does the experience of the body look like beyond our mental idea of the body as a shape or a thing? And if we want to, we can also look at the edges of the body. So we've done this before, looking at the edges to see whether there really is a distinct edge to the body in our direct awareness now, or whether that apparent edge to the body is again just more tingling sensations, albeit perhaps more intense. If we can get to that experience, is there a sense that the body really has an inside and an outside to it? Or is it in our direct experience that the body appears more like a cloud of sensations, of energetic vibration within a spacious feeling? Just seeing that sense of spaciousness, that everything seems to be arising in all the bodily sensations. And taking in the other senses. We've been focused on awareness of the body. And taking in sound as well. Sounds outside of the room. Or apparently outside of the room. Sounds that are apparently inside the room. And even sounds within the body itself. The gurgling of the digestion, you may be able to hear a heartbeat or some ringing in the ears. And is it that all of these sounds are just something else that is arising in this spacious awareness? Just like with the body, can we really say what is outside and what is inside? So we can also take in the visual sense. So even if we've got our eyes closed, there's still something going on in the visual sense. On the back of the eyelids, you still see something like blotches of light, sometimes different colours. Sometimes there's things that appear like strings, sort of lines, floaters, what they're called, on the eyeballs. Even these visual images, visual arisings, just appearing in this space of awareness. So there's probably not much going on with smell and taste, but if there is, we can take that in too. And to notice that everything that's arising in our experience at the moment is coming and going. So even something like smell, constantly, subtly changing. The light on the eyelids, and constant movement. Tingling bodily sensations, constantly moving. Maybe emotions as well, feelings coming in and out of being, changing one into another. We may be able to be aware also of things that are arising in the mind sense. So there may be thoughts in the shape of internal words, maybe images, both of these. We've managed to become relaxed and calmer in the meditation. Maybe that this thinking is just going on in a background chatter way. So we can see also that this thinking, these words and images, There's something that is coming in and out of this space of awareness. Sometimes they seem louder, sometimes they fade to the background. So all of this experience is seen, known, in this aware space. Even thoughts themselves. So taking something, say, like sound, it's arising in our experience. Is it the sound that knows the sound? Or is it the sound, is it that the sound is known by something else? What is it that sees and knows that sound is happening? Same with, say, bodily sensations. What is it that knows bodily sensations are happening? Don't ask this question to the thinking mind and spin off in thoughts. So simply looking. I am having bodily sensations, I am hearing sound. And something knows The same is true of thoughts. Or is it? Is it thoughts that see other thoughts? Or is it that thinking is known by something? Experience rising out of the space, awareness, and melting away again into the space of awareness. Sensations, sounds, and thoughts. Nothing actually sticking to that spacious awareness. It's like the mirror that reflects everything, sees everything, and is untouched by everything that it sees and reflects. Simply this aware space and constant arising and passing. With everything within it. Okay, so we'll take a break for 5 minutes. And for those of us who can or want to, we can come back at 5 past and chance to a conversation around the meditation we've just done.